My name is Rafael Levy. I'm a solution consultant with Bright Data. I've been with Bright Data for over 5 years now. And I'm here to share my experience, what I have seen, what clients need, and what is the better way to achieve it. Now, today we're going to be concentrating on a few pain points that I constantly see from the clients, which is mainly blocking, stability, performance scalability, and of course, all of that ends up in time and costs. So the goal of this webinar is to actually assist you in choosing the right model for you instead of inventing the wheel, instead of inventing technology that is already out there for you. Here's a model that represents in-house versus outsourcing of the technologies. For example, if you are going to be using just the proxy infrastructure, then you need to have a whole development department that's going to be developing the scrapers and all the technologies for you. But of course, as the more you go up, as you can see, you can just purchase the data as a service. This becomes a more cost-effective solution due to the fact that you do not need to develop the technologies. You're using companies that have already done that for you. So there are a few models that we do want to point out. As I have mentioned earlier, the in-house solution where you're basically developing everything. You're just renting the proxy infrastructure and your developers are developing everything: web proxy management, web unlocking technologies, parsing and reparsing, data validations, and data delivery. There are hybrid combinations where you can rent proxy infrastructure, use some proxy management tools with some web unlocking and browser automation technologies, and leave the parsing, data validation, and data delivery to your team. Serverless solutions where basically parsing and reparsing is also done on the third-party provider. And of course, data as a service, which is basically you're buying the data that has been already collected and then just use the data. This is very important because you need to think, what is the core of your business? Is the core of your business scraping and collecting data, or the core of your business is processing and using the data for something else? So today we're going to be talking about proxy optimization. We're going to be talking about different hybrid scraping solutions, and we're going to be talking about scraping functions. And I want to start with proxy optimization. Whenever you're starting your proxy operation, it is very important to have some kind of a management tool where you will be able to monitor what is going on with your proxy operation. Now, of course, your team can build this, or you can use softwares that are available out there. For example, Bright Data Proxy Manager, which is an open source and you can download it on GitHub. Once you have installed it locally on your computer or you installed it remotely on a server, you will be able to access the visual interface with the IP of the server or a local host IP with a port 22999. Now here we will be creating different types of ports, which will be assigned to different types of networks. And depending on the port that we will be using is what type of an IP is going to be assigned to the request. So why do we need management tools as a proxy manager? Number one, it's very important. You will be able to see logs. You will be able to see every request that goes through the proxy. You will be able to see its success rate. You will be able to see its bandwidth, and you will be able to see its status. So for example, here is a quick request to check the geolocation. We can see the response. This is the IP that has been assigned to this particular port. And here it's in the JSON format. Headers, everything. So right now we know we have a success, we have the bandwidth, and in general this is a very great tool to optimize your proxy operations. There are more things available if you go inside the port setup. For example, it is very important, rules. Rules are action trigger based. So for example, let's take a trigger. It's going to be status code. Let's say, for example, it's going to be a 403. What this means is if we send a request through right now localhost and the port 24,000 and the response status will be 403, we can retry with a new IP. Just like that, we just created a retry logic, and there are more things available to you. For example, if you don't want to download pictures or MP3s, MP4s or videos, you can just null response those. And of course, there's more that you can do. You can actually take response body, you could put capture, you can also retry with a new IP and so on. And there's a lot of things that you can do. Now keep in mind, of course, all of this can be coded by your development team, but why? It's open source, it's free to use, download it, use it, take advantage of technologies that are out there to help you do a better job. So next, what I want to talk about is using the right IP for the right job. What that means is here, for example, we have data center IPs, we have residential IPs, and we have on-locker. And I want to show you what difference it makes when you're using a different type of an IP. For this, I'm going to be using a Visual Studio. Here, for example, I have a simple request script that sends a request to a target website. It uses a proxy configuration. It ignores SSL errors. And we're going to be using the proxy manager, so we're sending the request through a local host with the port 24000. And as you remember, the port 24000 is a data center IP. And let's see. So if we send this request, I can already see that it's a mess. It's got blocked. When Amazon blocks the request, sometimes it sends junk back. And here, for example, if we reveal the file and we open it up, as you can see, there's no data here. Next, I want to use a residential IP. So here again, we're using a residential IP, but we're not providing any headers. We're not providing any cookies. So it's literally a naked request. Just using a residential IP is not going to help in this case. Here, for example, we can see that the response is a little bigger than from the data center IP, but I really doubt that we got any kind of a data here. Let's see. Most likely it's a capture. Let's open it up as well. Reveal the file. Boom, it's a capture. At least we got data now. So it's not just like a data center random response, but we got data. And third, I want to use the on-locker. Now, this is a technology that will basically pick and add headers cookies that are required for the website to make the website actually work and provide the data. And so even if you send a simple curl command through the on-locker zone to a complex site like Amazon's product, you should be getting the data back. And let's see here. We have something. Let's open it up. Boom, we got the data of the product. We got the full HTML, all the data here. So just like that, by using the right network, by using the right tool, you can get the data. Now, next, what I want to show you is using the same networks, but let's use a browser automation. And here I have a browser script. We're using Puppeteer. Let's target the same product. And as you can see, we're going to be using also the proxy manager. We will start with the data center IP. Now keep in mind, when you're using a browser automation, you don't really need to add headers. It's already added by the browser themselves. But when you're using Puppeteer, the browser that opens is Chromium, and the website can detect that it's Chromium and can understand that it's a browser automation. So here, let's give it a try. I do want to show another thing since we're talking about optimization. As you saw before, those were single requests. When we're going to be opening this product in a browser, here's the browser, you can see how much more requests are coming through and how much more bandwidth this actually uses instead of a plain API request. So that I always advise to choose the right scraping method. If you can do it with a single request and API, do it. If you need a browser, then remove things that you're not required. And as you see, data center IP with the browser also hit the capture. So let's give it a try to a different type of network. So let's stop this script. We're going to be using the residential now. Let me just delete this so this way we can have another file. And boom. So now we're using a residential IP with a browser. And as you can see, this actually worked. So we have the website loaded, we have the product, and we have all the requests coming in. Next thing I want to show you, I saw that the rules were on, that's why the pictures weren't loading. So let's see here, for example, let's refresh. The script finished. Let's just run it one more time. Okay, you can see all the data is here. So yes, residential IP with a browser automation can help you get information from Amazon. But this is what I want to show you, is that when we are talking about using residential IPs, as you can see, just loading the website already used up about 7 megabytes, and it keeps going and it keeps going because the browser is not efficient. The browser is always downloading requests that are not necessarily needed for the specific product. So in the case, as you remember, we can actually block a lot of requests, and you can block even specific requests. If you analyze the website and remove everything, you will be able to optimize it even more. I've had clients that were able to cut their costs by 30%. And let's quickly give it a test. Save changes, and let's clear the logs, and let's run it again. Okay, so now as you see, there are no pictures, and here we can see the requests that have been ignored with a green arrow, and in total you will see the bandwidth is going to be much less. So this is what I'm trying to say. Optimize your proxy. If you don't need the pictures, don't download them. If you need just the URLs, this is a good way to optimize and save 20-30%. Sometimes it could be even more depending on the website. Now, if you see the unlocker is not suitable for browser automation, unlocker is a tool that is designed for plain API requests. You have a destination or a target URL, you send it through the unlocker, and you get the HTML back. What are the drawbacks? The drawbacks is that if the website needs to execute a JavaScript, or if you need to interact with the website, then unlocker is not the right tool for you. But thankfully, Bright Data has another product for browser automation that is unlike unlocker, that helps unlock the websites, and it's called the scraping browser. So the next thing that I want to show you is the scraping browser. So scraping browser was designed for complicated websites where clients want to interact with the website but take advantage of the fingerprinting and unlocking technology that Bright Data has. The fingerprinting is done automatically under the hood. Each session will have its own IP and its own fingerprint, and it's very simple to convert your code or your script to be run through the scraping browser. In reality, all it takes is just sending the connection through the WSS and the Bright Super Proxy through the port 9222, and this opens a real Chrome browser on our servers. So you don't need servers, you don't need to have this whole infrastructure to support browser scraping. You can just literally run it through your laptop. And for example, let's use the same target website as we have used before. And I just want to show you that the scalability of a scraping browser is enormous, and it's very simple. I'm running a simple ThinkPad laptop with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and let's just demonstrate. So for example, right now I just want to run one. We are going to open the DevTools. I do want to show you that you can see the browser that is running remotely, and let's give it a run. As you can see, one task is running. We're opening the DevTools. It's ran through the Bright Data, so we will be able to see right now what is happening on the server that is opening the browser. These are the website, these are the elements, and as you can see, the page is loaded. I can even scroll through it a little bit up and down just to see if the page is loading fine, but it's there. The data is there. So let's get back to our script and see what is going on here. Alrighty, we got page loaded. I put 50,000 ms delay here before I take a screenshot. We're not gonna wait for that. The data is there, the HTML can be extracted, screenshots can be taken. The next thing that I want to show you is that I can literally do this 100 times just by running it on the loop. So I'm just running it, I'm going to the page, and I'm gonna turn off the DevTools because I don't want to open 100 pages right now. This is how easy it is to scale with scraping browser. Right now I just opened 100 browsers that are going to the same URL, so it's not a sophisticated script. The goal of this webinar is not to show you how to script, but to show you the technologies that are available out there so that even on a small laptop without any kind of capabilities of scraping, I can literally run 100 browsers and you will see that the screenshots are going to start coming in. All of this is done parallel to each other. Amazing, amazing. You can even do 1,000 if you want to. Great technology to scale up. Again, all the unlocking technology is under the hood. Take advantage of it. I'm not going to wait for it to finish up. It will be finished in a minute or so. Let's move forward with other products that we have that can help you scale and help you optimize your scraping operations. Now, the next thing that I want to talk to you about is scraping functions. In Bright Data, we have a product called IDE. If you have an account with us, you should be able to go into your account, to the datasets and web scraping IDE, and here on the bottom you can start with Web Scraper IDE. Now this is basically a coding environment, all cloud-based, where you can develop your own scrapers. It's an environment that does not require you to write a lot of code, and usually the scrapers come out very optimized and do not take thousands of coding lines. So for this demo, let's continue maybe with IKEA products. These are some of the templates that are available to you out of the box. So here we have a script that basically goes to Amazon.com, does a search, then goes through pages, whether it's one or two. We have inputs, keyword search, and how many pages we go through. So it goes through all the pages, it collects all the URLs of the products and a little bit more information that is here in the parser code. And then it basically goes inside each product and extracts more data. Now, here we have two windows. We have an interaction code where you're basically interacting with a page, click, navigate, type, and so on. And the parser code is basically once we have navigated to where we want to extract the data from, the parser code comes in. As you can see, this is where we're separating everything with the selectors. And on the second step, once we collected the URLs of the products, we go to a product URL, and then we are basically parsing. Now, this entire script takes about, we have 21 lines here. We have another 34 lines here. Then if we scroll to the next step, we have another, let's not count empty, 5 lines here. And of course, the parser code is the biggest one because here we have about 30 different data points that we're collecting. So that's already 30 lines just for those data points. But in general, we're talking about a script that is less than 200 lines in total that does the following, right? So we're talking about going to Amazon.com, typing in a keyword, let's say Xbox. Then it collects every single URL of all of these products, goes through the pages, how many pages we have done, and then goes inside of each product and extracts more data. This type of a code inside Visual Studios would take thousands of lines. Also, every time that you are creating an IDE collector, you get an API endpoint, and let me just show you that. I'm gonna go to my demo account, and here, for example, every single collector that is built has an API endpoint. So basically you can trigger this by API. You have a configuration of the output. So if at any point of time I need to quickly rename something or rearrange it, we have a schema that you can adjust. And another thing is the delivery preference. So we can choose a format on the fly. We can have the data automatically delivered to your preferred storage, Amazon S3 or Microsoft Azure. different types of notifications. And all of this is already built for you. So out of the box, you can go here, create a scraper, get an API endpoint, get the data automatically delivered, I don't know, maybe to your webhook, and quickly create a fully automated process of collecting the data and processing the data without having to waste time on unlocking websites, without having to waste time to creating API endpoints, setting up the servers. Just a quick out-of-the-box solutions that you can use. The only limitations currently is that it's based on JavaScript. So right now only the JavaScript coding interface is available, but the pluses are enormous because, for example, here are the functions that we have created and they do exactly what they say they do, but they work a bit different. For example, click. Click in Puppeteer means that instant teleportation of the mouse to the point, to the selector, and clicking it. Click here means that it moves the mouse slowly. It appears to be as a human being. It can even jump. As you can see my mouse right now, sometimes it jumps. This all is imitated. So when you do using click, when you're using type, when you're using mouse to, all of these functions are done purposely to imitate a human behavior. So if the website is using any kind of trackers, it should see that it's a real human that is using the device. And of course, all the unlocking, as I mentioned before, is under the hood. And it's a great way to scrape websites. You can intercept requests. You can do a lot of things. Give it a try. It's an amazing tool for your scraping operations. And of course, just to summarize, a few key points that I would like to go over. Focus on your core business. I have seen many companies, their core business is to process the data, and they're reaching out and they're hiring engineers and they're renting servers and they're building this whole infrastructure for collecting data, and it's just not needed. There's no need to create your own department of collecting the data if this is not the core business of your company. Choose the right model. As we have talked before, there are different models where you can outsource or use an alternative scraping method partially or fully, or use even data as a solution. So make sure you are using the right model for your scraping job. And of course, optimizing your scraping operation, which means using the right IP type, choosing whether to use a browser automation or just API. If you are using a browser automation, make sure you are not wasting bandwidth on unnecessary requests. Concentrate on what's required. This can help you save a lot of money on the bandwidth. Thank you, everybody. My name was Rafael Levy, and have a good day.